Some of you know that we have a Bond Academy for entrepreneurs. And what we're doing is we're building entrepreneurs, men who want to start a business and have been wanting to start one for years, but just didn't quite know how to get it going. And it's very, very interesting. We had a meeting last night, and it's very interesting. It's nice to see. The one thing I realized is that in the good old days when boys were boys and men were men, because there were parents and grandparents around, and this was prior to the civil rights movement, when there were parents and grandparents around, and you saw them working, and you would grow up working, doing something, working in cotton fields or working somewhere. You would naturally develop that nature, independent nature of knowing how and just taking risks and doing what you needed to do in life. It would be natural for you. I remember that because I grew up that way. I finished high school barely. There was 18. I'm not making this up. 18 in my class, and I was number 18. And the reason for that, because I was working, some of the kids, the black kids in my class, when I was growing up, did not have to work the plantations because they didn't live on the plantations. Their parents were very well off, and they owned land, and they were doing their thing. And so I was number 18 in class. But the thing that kept me going is that I was working, and I was taught to work. And I had major responsibilities. And so growing up, that nature inside of me grew up with me. And so when I became a young adult, left home at 18 and moved to L.A., it was no big deal. I left Alabama, went to Indiana, stayed for 2 weeks, got me a job, stayed for 2 weeks, made a paycheck, and moved to L.A. And at 18. And I made some mistakes out here, a lot of mistakes in the beginning. Leaving a plantation and coming to a major city like this, it was an experience. But I always had a job. The only time I didn't have a job, I had a job, though. I was going to say when I didn't want one, but I've always had a job. Maybe there was a short shutdown period for a minute, but I had a job. And I just naturally found work. And so when I wanted to start my first business I was into computers, working as a medical transcriber for a hospital, and I couldn't afford that, so I started a janitorial service. And I never had doubt and fear about doing it, because that nature inside of me just was already built. I didn't have to build that nature in which I became an adult. I had it growing up while growing up. It was just who I am. And so now that I've been working with young and old men for the last 27 years, and these guys have not had parents to set that example for them. And so that nature inside of them is not, some of them have it somewhat, they work hard, they go to work, but it's not built with a solid foundation, knowing that without even thinking about it, though, just doing what you need to do in front of you, and it works out. So it's interesting to see that, but there are a lot of good guys in the program, and they are sincere. There's one young man in there, he's 30, and he talked about his life. He's been through a lot, and, been married before and divorced, and, he talked about his wife being his backbone, and once they divorced, then his backbone was gone, and he ended up homeless and all that stuff. Amazing, huh? To all men on this side of heaven, women are not your backbone. Christ is your backbone. You are the woman's backbone. That's how that works. It's terrible giving women that kind of responsibility. It's not in them or on them put forth for them to be your backbone. That's stupid. Christ is your backbone and your wife's backbone. Now, if the woman is not married, then Christ is her backbone. Bone. And we need to get this order right so we can do it right. And the children of the lie, let them call you woman hater, whatever kind of hater. They're doing their father's will. They're trying to stop the order. They're trying to stop good. But this program, this entrepreneur program is so good. And I feel blessed to just count that God is allowing this to happen through me to help these guys because they're really good guys. And we have blacks and whites and we have a Hispanic. I don't know if that boy is Hispanic. He keeps saying he's not a Hispanic, though. Oh, he says he's not Mexican, but Hispanic. That's amazing. When I was growing up and when I became a young man, I didn't have the idea of anything being free, but I do remember one time I was smoking pot, and I was a liberal, I was angry, and I was told that the country owed me something because I'm black, and that I could get free welfare because I'm smoking pot. So I went and got some free stuff for a while. And that cheese, that government cheese, that free cheese, oh my God. The government cheese is better than the cheese that you buy in the store because it seemed to be the real deal. It's like real yellow, real hard, and real good. But anyway, we have this program, and it's amazing. And then, there are some, we offered it to everybody. It's amazing the people who did not, didn't even try to get it. And then those who tried didn't show up for the first meeting. But that's how life is. I remember I went to LACC for a year, Los Angeles City College, and community college. And when you first start the class, the first couple of days, everybody and their mama show up in the class. Or if you want to add a class, you can wait a few days because many people are going to drop out the class anyway. So that's expected. That's still like that, huh? It's like the first day of the year, everybody and their mama show up for the gym. After a while, the gym starts to mellow out. So that's how this program is. But the ones that need to be there are there. And you're right, humans don't change. They do the same thing over and over again. But it's a good class. And we're building entrepreneurs. And it's for 15 and up. 15 years old and up. Because a lot of young 15, you'll be surprised at the energy and the ideas and the willingness to do the things they like doing if they just had somebody there to say, hey, this is how that goes. Also, we got some really great men who have some retired, but they have done very well in business, and they're coming in and they're talking to these guys about it. We're going to get it, marketing, everything they need. And it's fantastic. It's just mind-blowing. The life that I have, I never imagined it. I didn't even know to think and do what I do. I didn't grow up thinking, hey, this is what I'll be doing one day. Not at all. You hear a lot of preachers say, oh, the Lord came at me when I was 6 years old, but I ran. I didn't run because I didn't know it.